So today we'll be talking about the common cattle breeds you find here in Nigeria. And this information is important to as many as are looking to keep cattle either as a commercial venture or just for personal reasons. So you're able to identify these cattle breeds and know important peculiarities associated with them to make the best choice that will be suited to the venture you're looking to run and not end up with a breed that will likely fall short of your expectation or just not thrive in the environment you're looking to rear it in. So we'll just run through the list and we'll be starting with the white Fulani, the king of cattle breeds here in Nigeria. Now, how exactly to identify the white Fulani? As the name goes, you have a white coat color, sometimes patched or spotted with black. You have long horns that are black at the tip, you have black ears, black eyes, and a black nose. You also have a prominent hump just above the point of the shoulder. If you've been around the country for a while, you should have encountered this guy. So why is this guy a favorite among a lot of people, and why do you find it almost every single place in the country? This cattle breed is one that is known for its high resistance against a lot of disease conditions. It's also resistant against parasites that live both outside and inside the cattle's body. Another important peculiarity about this breed is that it is highly resistant to heat and stress. It is a worthy citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you can have this guy walk over long distances to graze and not come under the burden of heat and stress. The white Fulani is a breed that can be used both for meat production and for milk production. So amongst the indigenous breeds we have here in Nigeria, the white Fulani is known to be the best milk producer. There are reports of daily volume ranging from 2 liters to 6 liters and even up to 8 liters depending on how exactly you manage them and the conditions they are reared in. Moving on to the next breed, we'll be talking about a close relative, the red Fulani. As the name goes, it has a red coat color, sometimes ranging to brown, dark brown, and even black. It has prominent horns just as you have in the white Fulani, and also a prominent hump just above the point of the shoulder. One thing you might want to know about this breed is that this guy is a naughty, nervous breed. It does not like to be managed. So you most likely have this breed running around or jumping when you are trying to restrain it or attend to it medically. This is one thing to note, if at all. Well, I don't think people do that nowadays, but if at all you would be needing a cattle to use as a farm animal, either to pull a plow or to carry loads on the farm, the red Fulani would not exactly be one of the breeds you want to consider because this guy does not like to be managed. Another thing to note about the red Fulani is it is sometimes more susceptible to diseases associated with humid conditions. What exactly do I mean? If you live in an area that is surrounded by a lot of water bodies or the rainfall is predominant for most months in the year, you just might be having to do a lot more paying of attention to humidity-related diseases like trypanosomiasis and other hemoparasite infections that can affect the cattle. This is not to say you cannot rear the red Fulani in humid or riverine areas, but you just might be needing to pay a little more attention. Now, this breed is majorly reared for meat production as it's not exactly a good milk producer as the white Fulani. Next up, we'll be talking about the Gudali. Now, there are two kinds of the Gudali. You have the Sokoto Gudali and the Adamawa Gudali. But most of this is just semantics based on where they originate from. Their characteristics are mostly similar, just differences in coat color and maybe the way the hump appears. To identify the Gudali, you will be paying attention to the horns. The Gudali has very short horns, almost sometimes not visible. It has very big ears that sometimes dangle from the head. The coat color can range from white to cream to light gray to brown. Sometimes you have this light gray shade just fade pretty nicely along the neck, and also you might find wrinkled skin in that area too. As opposed to the red Fulani, the Gudali is a pretty calm and docile breed, so it can work pretty well as a farm animal. Another thing to note about the Gudali is that it is majorly known for its beef production. So it grows to really good sizes and produces really good beef. So if you want to be narrowing down on beef production, you just would want to be including the Gudali in your list of animals to go for. And it is pretty much resistant to both disease and environmental conditions. So both the white Fulani, the red Fulani, and the Gudali can all be classed as Zebu. These are cattle having a hump. Next on our list, we'll be talking about the Kuri. The Kuri is not exactly a popular breed around these parts, but you just might find it. Now, one thing to note about the Kuri that you cannot miss is the very large horns. The Kuri has very large horns, and it has been said that based on the places where it originates from, regions around Lake Chad, these horns help them to swim. So basically for identification, you have that very large horns, white coat color, and so you don't confuse it for the white Fulani, though the humps will already give it away. It doesn't have a hump above the point of the shoulder like the white Fulani does. Considering the origin of this breed, This breed is used to areas that are wet, cold, and humid, as I mentioned, used to swim. So if for any reason you find this breed somewhere and you love the horns or you just love the way it looks and you want to bring it to your environment and you know your area is hot and dry, please do not bring the Kuri down, because the Kuri would most likely not thrive in that environment. Not unless you have plans to be bathing your cow every day. If you do, the Kuri would be a good producer for you, and is also known to give pretty good milk volume, somewhere around 4 liters per day, although all of that depends on managemental conditions. Moving on to the next breed is the Ndama. Now, the Ndama is not exactly so common too, but it's something you can find. To identify, its color ranges from this local dog straw brown, sandy to brown color. That's what you have with the Ndama. The horns can be sometimes long or short, and it also does not have a hump above the point of the shoulder. So this is one way you can differentiate it from the red Fulani. Just a disclaimer though, for most of these names, these are the generally acceptable names. But if you will be going to buy cattle or deal with cattle in interior areas, you might not be hearing some of these names. You might be hearing a lot of strange things: granite cattle, akpala, bokolo, and a lot of other things. But these are just the generally acceptable names. But whatever name it is they give to it, you basically are able to identify and know the characteristics that are associated with this cattle. So back to it, I was talking about the Ndama. A special thing about the Ndama is the fact that it is accustomed to humid areas. And not just that, it is very resistant to trypanosomiasis, which is a disease you would likely find in humid areas, because these kind of environments support growth in the populations of tsetse So sometimes there's a thing of breeding Ndama with other local breeds just to pass that trypanotolerance to other breeds we have. It's a cattle breed that does pretty good for meat production as well. Next up is the Muturu. Now, this cattle breed is a dwarf cattle breed, so it's sometimes called the West African dwarf shorthorn cattle. This is a pretty short cattle breed, and it doesn't exactly weigh as much as other cattle breeds. So at 3 years of age, for other cattle breeds, you might be having 350, 400 to even 600 kg. But with the Muturu at that same age, you'll be having about 200 kg. It has short horns, just like the Gudali. It has a very big head, and it can range from white, red, brown, and even black colors. It also does not have a hump above the point of the shoulder. One thing to note about the Muturu as to why you might want to favor it, despite its not so good weight gain, is that it is also very resistant to trypanosomiasis, just as the Ndama. It's exactly not a breed also that you find around. Some even say it's beginning to get extinct. But these are the characteristics and peculiarities of the Muturu. Now, the Kuri, the Ndama, and the Muturu cannot be classed as non-Zebu breeds because they do not have a hump. I'd want to talk about the Keteku. You might have heard of Keteku, but it's not exactly a particular breed. So there is the Bogu Keteku and there's the Lagos Keteku. The Bogu Keteku, you get it when you breed the Muturu with the white Fulani, and you get the Lagos Keteku when you breed the Muturu to the Ndama. So if you're hearing about Keteku, it is not exactly a single breed. Also with other breeds of cattle, most times you would not just find a purely bred cattle. Sometimes you might have white Fulani bred with a Gudali, you might have red Fulani bred with a Gudali, so you would see kind of a mix of their characters come into this cattle. I'll be adding one more cattle breed to this list, and though it does not originate from around here, it's beginning to gain a lot of popularity around farmers because of its remarkable ability in dairy production. And I'm talking about the Holstein Friesian. Now, you identify this breed by its short to no horns, its white and black patched coat color. Sometimes it comes in white and brown. It's very stout nature and very developed udder. This cattle breed is able to turn up around 30 liters of milk per day during their lactating period. Pretty impressive. Now, just a general consideration for as many as are looking to rear cattle, it will be very helpful to involve the service of a veterinarian, as their advice on a lot of matters from housing, feeding, breeding, vaccination, and a lot of other things would save you a lot of cost and would prevent having to battle with a lot of medical conditions, which basically puts your animals or your business, in case of commercial ventures, at risk. And that's not something you want to have. In subsequent videos, we'll be going into a lot more considerations as things to have on mind for as many as are looking to keep animals. But for now,